The closer I got, the more voices I heard. They kept whispering things I couldn't fully understand over the sound of the rain. Hello, guys. This will be a short story about a haunted house in Mexico. And to make it a little bit more spooky, everything happened while it was a rainy day at night. Some haunted houses are not just stories, they do haunt, so you have to be careful. Or this is just another story for you. But if you don't have enough respect for it, it might become your next reality. Let's begin with our program, What Crawls in the Nights. Hello, good evening. I'll tell my story. This is one of the most disturbing things that have ever happened to me. I warn you, it might be long, so here it goes. This happened in Mexico City around 2012. I was only 8 years old. My mom and my aunt had to attend a meeting with people from their work team. Our house was far from the meeting place, and since we were planning to go out to dinner together afterwards, my mom decided to leave my older brother, my older sister, and me at my aunt's house. Our cousin would stay there to watch us. We loved the idea, so my mom and my aunt left, and we stayed behind. I should mention that my aunt's house and her family in general had a long history of paranormal experiences. You could say they were used to it. My cousin often told us how they heard voices, saw shadows, and experienced strange things. At that time, I didn't know whether to believe him or not. That evening, around 6:30 p.m., it was already getting dark. The sky had turned completely black, heavy with rain that hadn't started yet, and the air felt bitterly cold. My cousin was upstairs working on university assignments, while my siblings and I watched the movie. Nothing scary at all. It was Ice Age 4. Halfway through the movie, we got hungry and decided to buy snacks. My siblings went to the little store around the corner and asked me to go to the backyard and take the laundry down from the clotheslines, since thunder was already rumbling and the rain will start any minute. So they left, and I stayed home. I don't remember how long it took me to take all the clothes down, but there was a lot. So much that it barely fit into the laundry basket, even though it was a big one. When I finished, I went back inside and shut the door behind me. I left the basket on the floor, walked into the living room, and sat on the couch. Almost immediately after, the rain began to fall. That was when the atmosphere in the house suddenly changed. A heavy silence settled everywhere, the kind of silence that presses against your ears, broken only by the sound of rain hitting the roof and windows. My cousin was 2 floors above me in his room, so his presence was barely noticed. For all practical purposes, I was basically alone. It was getting darker by the minute, and the only light in the room came from the television, frozen on the paused movie scene. I don't know why, but a deep, instinctive fear started growing inside me. Something in me didn't want to stand up to turn on the lights. Maybe it was everything I had heard about that house. Maybe it was being alone in the dark. I just wanted my siblings to come back. but the minutes stretched into what felt hours. I kept looking around nervously until finally I forced myself to stare at the television screen, trying to calm down. That was when I heard it. A voice. It came from inside the kitchen. Someone said my name. Soft, almost like a whisper, but clear enough that there was no doubt. My fear exploded inside me. I almost ran for the door. Then, the voice came again. And this time, something about it calmed me. Because I thought I recognized it. It sounded like my sister. Or at least, I believed it did. I heard it clearly. Then again. Come, we're here. Come closer so we can see you. I answered without thinking. What do you want? Then another voice spoke, deeper this time. Come. I assumed it was my brother. Even though it didn't sound quite like him, I didn't pay much attention to that detail. By then, I was already convinced they had already come back from the store and were trying just to scare me. So I stood up and walked slowly toward the kitchen. My plan was to sneak up quietly and scare them. The closer I got, the more voices I heard. They kept whispering things I couldn't fully understand over the sound of the rain. And then I heard something else. Laughter. Small, stifled giggles, like people trying not to burst out laughing. The closer I got, the louder the laughter became. To enter the kitchen, you had to open a wooden door. I reached out my hand and stepped closer and closer until I was only about 4 inches from the door. Just as I was about to open it, I heard the front door. I turned towards the window and saw my brother and sister approaching the entrance from the street, soaked from the rain. At that exact moment, the voices stopped. Completely. The silence was instant and absolute. I froze. I couldn't feel my legs. I wanted to run, but my body wouldn't respond. I looked at my siblings in terror. After a few seconds that felt endless, I pulled away from the kitchen door and ran towards them as fast as I could. I grabbed them and told them everything that had happened. They said the rain had slowed them down at the store and they had waited under a roof so they wouldn't get soaked. They had never come into the house. They had never called my name. They had never been in the kitchen. It couldn't have been my cousin either. We called him downstairs to make sure it hadn't been a prank. He had been upstairs the entire time. I never dared to enter the kitchen myself, but I watched from a distance as my cousin opened the door. There was no one there. That night, only the 4 of us were in the house. No one else. To this day, I still don't know who or what was calling me from that kitchen. And what disturbs me the most are the laughs. And the thought that never leaves me. What would have happened if I had opened that door? What would have been waiting for me on the other side? Well, guys, that was today's story. Hope you guys liked it. Sometimes when they tell you that in that house, something that isn't alive lives there, sometimes you got to believe and be careful. Don't ignore the sounds tonight. You've already awakened it. Good night, and don't let the bedbugs bite.